YouTube, what the crap's going on? Now, after that last Pyrrhic victory, I ended up in another match against the same guy I played last time. So the Parthian player now picked Macedon, and I picked the Seleucids. And the reason I picked the Seleucids is because they have access to Syrian armored elephants, which are a little cheaper than the regular kind. And I ended up bringing a shield bearer general, thinking that Macedon really can't field any sword threat of any significant degree. Yes, they can have royal peltas, but they can't bring too many of them. So I bring also 5 Persian archers, so that in case my opponent brought pikes, that I could shoot his pikes to death with my archers. So I've got mostly swords, thorax swords, with the shield bearer in the center. And then I've got 4 Median cav. And then here's my Syrian armored elephants. These guys are sweet looking. One of the coolest units in the game. So yeah, my idea is pretty simple. Keep my opponent fixed in the front, wrap around with my elephant, quick rack up, kind of like you do with the other armies. What my opponent did, though, is Macedon caught me off guard. Macedon mostly uses, like, thorax sword armies, just like the rest of the Hellenic factions here. But my opponent brings pikes in the center, which I thought was kind of weird. And again, rather than bringing archers, he brings a crapload of light peltist. Not as common these days in the game, but still a dangerous unit. He's got a couple of Thurio spears and another pikeman in the back for support. On each flank, he's got 2 units of shot cav, and then 2 units of melee cav. Over here, he's actually got 3 units of shot cav. So he's got 2 Thessalian cav and a citizen cav, and then this flank is consistent of 2 citizen cav and 2 Thessalian cav. So my opponent really wants to get around my flank here, and he comes up early with his cavalry, and it's like, hey man, he's getting a little too anxious with his cav. This is going to work out. But the only thing I was worried about is like, man, how do I want to take this charge? Because I don't really want to charge as Thessalian cav, because it's going to beat my Median cav up kind of bad. You can see they immediately take quite a few losses. I was like, it's no problem, I'll just chase off these guys with elephants. Well, they don't engage me. And the thing is I've got to keep an eye on these units with the elephants. If not, he's going to get my skirmishers. I can't skirmish forward. And he's doing the same thing over here. See how he keeps my cav busy? Gets my guys kind of pinned down, and then he's going to try and immediately get around me. So already my skirmishers are in grave danger, which is bad, because my opponent has enough pikes to pike box if he needs to. I'm going to support these cav fights, and I'll do okay, but this is the big problem. My elephants can't catch his cav. I should have quit chasing them and just kept them closer to my skirmishers, so that mistake's going to cost me. Now I've got citizen cav behind me, and there's nothing I can do about it. My guys are just going to get it. And so it's not until this point that my opponent pressures me from the front with his pikes. So it's perfect. It's perfect. My skirmishers and men have to either get faced by his cav or get faced by pikes. This is how you would want to use pikes in Rome 2. He uses his cavalry to keep me from retreating, and then he's going to fix me with his pikes from the other direction. And then he's got a crap load of light peltas, and these guys are just going to start opening up on all my men. These guys have a lot of ammo, they've got a good reload speed, and they're going to start punishing my troops. And they're a huge danger to my elephants too, so I have to try and get my elephants and some of my other men back. So I'm like, alright, let's see if I can get some of my men back, stabilize, and keep taking the fight to him. I also have this skirmish cav out here that's keeping one of his Thessalians busy. I got a cavalry unit behind his line, albeit it was a Pyrrhic move, and then I'm going to be able to get into the flank of his pikes over here. This is what I need. I need to get into the flank of his pikemen, kill them, and then I should be able to stabilize, bring my elephants back at an opportune moment, and finish him off. So my opponent, though, excellent job to start the battle. I made some mistakes, and he capitalized on them, and did it very well. He's got his pikes here fixing me. I'm going to have to pull back from him. I'm probably just issuing a lot of orders and kind of got confused on where I was doing what. Again, I am going to get rid of one of his pike units here, but see how he kind of starts forming up a defensive box, trying to keep me away from his skirmishers and keep me from getting behind his men. And his dang citizen cav here is still holding up this swordsman. I need them badly. And in other places, I'm fighting, and his pikes have kind of crept up behind me, and then his continuous light peltis fire has taken its toll. I keep looking for an opportunity to get my elephants in, and I kind of start to here, but see he's going to go ahead and close the box, and just keep making it difficult for me to get into the right position. So I have turned the fight around a little. I've killed a bunch of his men, but he's kind of got me fixed up front, and I still haven't noticed that my shield bearers and a thorax sword unit are going head-to-head with pikes. And then here, just in the nick of time, he gets a flaming volley that drives my elephants berserk. I guess he figured he couldn't kill them in one volley, so he just drives them off. It gives him just enough time to reposition and hopefully stabilize the morale of his men, because they were starting to falter. Over here, his pikes are out of position. I'm going to start chasing with my swords, but it looks like they're going to get away from me and be able to reposition. So now that my opponent is kind of in a more boxy position, and he's got enough javelins left, and again, remember, light peltists have a lot of ammo. Some of the other skirmishers would be out of ammo by now, but his guys are not. Some of my guys came back from routing. I'm going to bring them back. It's still a very close fight at this point. If I can use my elephants right, I can end it, because these are only levy pikes. But his javelins are taking a severe toll. And then, again, my general's been going after these pikes this whole time, and I haven't been paying a lot of attention, and he's about to kick the bucket, which is bad. I needed to pull my general out of that fight, keep him alive, because I need that morale boost. I have enough men to finish the job. If I lose him, though, it's going to be a huge morale blow, and so it's a big mistake on my part. Again, he starts repositioning for the expected charge of my elephants. He's going to keep a pike near to his light peltis so that they can retreat and continue to try and throw flaming volleys. It's going to force me to call off my charge just momentarily because he's reformed, and I can't lose my elephants. So I'm going to try and shoot this little gap right here and see if I can rout these guys and then get to his skirmishers. See, the fight is actually almost back in my favor at this point. But my elephants get run berserk one last time, and I'm like, please, just push through his men, and then they do. Boom! Right there. This is what I wanted. I needed my elephants behind his lines, but at the same time, my general dies. And so my men start losing morale. So this fight is just, I mean, a huge mashup of crap going on right here. But then my elephants run berserk, and instead of going after his own infantry like I wanted, they actually wander behind my infantry. And I'm like, no, 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 don't do it. It causes my men to waver. And then by the time my elephants come back, all of my men start to waver. They probably had an attack in the rear penalty from the mercenary elephants, and it ended up doing me in. So it ended up being a very close fight. But it was the execution at the beginning from my opponent that really impressed me there. He capitalized on every mistake I made, and he actually used his pikes really well, I thought, in this battle. He wasn't expecting his pikes to get all of his kills. He was kind of wanting his javelins and his cavalry to do a lot of the killing. And it was an impressive strategy to me. And some of his pikes did get some kills. This is the one right here that I kept engaging my men against, and I shouldn't have. It was a big mistake. So if I would have corrected a few mistakes, I definitely could have turned this one around. But again, kudos to my opponent. He brought a lot of cavalry, and I made mistakes on how to face those cavalry, which means that in the end, my opponent was able to get at my skirmishers, which then cost me dearly. It was stuff like that. My elephants did pretty well. They got a lot of kills. They almost did what they needed to do, but they ended up routing with almost all their men left, which is sad. So it was a very well executed battle on the part of my opponent, and some big mistakes on my part. He wasn't able to complete the chain route at the beginning because I was able to pull some of my men back. And even if I would have done something just as simple as pulling my general back away from that fight and keeping him alive, I may very well have won that battle. Because it was just that close. But it was a fun one. Both times this opponent just caught me off guard with his tactics. Did not expect this. Most of the players I've played against recently have been very defensive, very campy, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying they want to hold the position. They want to defend the position. They want to box up, wall up, do whatever they can. And so I haven't run into these people being real aggressive, and so it kind of caught me on the hoof here whenever he just all of a sudden just charged me in both battles, just like came at it, which is typically what I like to do to people. So when I get put in the opposite scenario, it ends up being kind of tough for me to counter because I'm not used to playing the game that way. So good game to my opponent. I enjoyed both these battles thoroughly. He definitely played well in both of them, and kudos to him for making the game fun and throwing some stuff at me I didn't expect. It definitely kind of challenged me with the way that I think about how to make some of my decisions. Again, could have made my decisions a lot better here, and definitely should have, but it taught me a lesson. So, HeirofCarthage signing off for now.